Okay guys, now we're gonna talk about the fun part. So focusing your mind and your body to go deep within. I used hypnobirthing to help me go deep, and so I highly recommend that. I know there is like hypnobabies and other techniques that you can use, or if you have something else in mind that you want to try, then you're welcome to use that too. But I feel like it really helped me to focus in on staying calm and relaxed, and so practicing those hypnobirthing soundtracks and listening to them daily, sometimes a few different tracks, really helped me to be able to focus in on how to stay relaxed and go deep. I have had people comment and say that I just like totally like go somewhere else when I'm birthing, and that they can see that I'm totally focused and like not allowing any distractions or anything to get in my way. And I think that's what helps me a lot to get through the births the way that I am able to. So it's a big part. Not allowing people to frustrate you. Like my last birth, I had the nurse, she was trying to put an IV in the middle of a surge, and like it was hurting because she kept missing, even though I was sitting like as still as possible. And I don't know why she was struggling so bad, but like it was really starting to like I was like, I don't know if I can stay in my calm place when she's doing that. But I just zoned out of what she was doing, and tried to focus in on just breathing and staying calm and staying deep. And she was able to get it, and I was able to just stay zoned. So it's important to practice the going deep technique, because there are things that are happening around you. Nurses are trying to talk to you, they're trying to, I don't know, get information that they need. My last birth, I got there, it took them 10 minutes to get me checked in as I'm going through these intense contractions, and then I had the baby within 20 minutes of getting in the bed. So they didn't believe me at first, and they're like, are you sure it's a real labor? And like that whole thing. And because I looked so calm, they didn't believe that it was real labor. And you might experience that, like if you're also able to remain calm and use these techniques, because we even called ahead and let them know we were coming like 45 minutes before, and they still didn't have like anything ready to go. The doctor wasn't even there. So yeah, when it comes to, I guess, the staying calm and like staying deep and focusing your mind, the way that I would best describe it is just focusing on what you want out of it, your end goal, and what you have to do in order to achieve that goal. And that is a beautiful baby, right? It's you being safe, it's the baby being safe, and it's the outcome of, if I can stay calm and I can do this in a relaxed way, then I can get my baby here safely, and I can be safe, and we can have a empowered birth together. So that's kind of what I just focus on. Like I will wait if there's something that I want to address with a nurse or a doctor or my midwife or my husband or whoever, like go brush your teeth or whatever it may be, because it's bothering me in the moment. When you're experiencing all of the different hormones during labor, sometimes they need some gum, sometimes, like you need to have like mouthwash on hand and stuff. So I suggest packing that stuff because I get pretty nauseous when I'm in labor. So but just being able to get through that surge, whether it's 30 seconds, 2 minutes, you know, whatever the length is, just focusing on, okay, I just need to get through this moment, this surge, and then I can address that. And that kind of empowers me, like, okay, as soon as I'm through this surge, I just need to focus right now. As soon as I'm through this, then I can address that outside stuff. And so then I'll kind of come out of it after the surge is over, and I'll just start talking to them, and we'll make jokes and we'll have fun, and it'll be a great time, and I'll address any concerns that I have, and answer questions or whatever they're needing. And if a nurse is talking to me during my surge, which seemed to happen a lot with my last birth, I just had my midwife or my husband say, oh, she's in a surge right now. Can you wait a minute and ask her that? Or we'll find out in just a sec when she's done. Or, you know, like something like that, like don't interrupt her when she's in her zone, basically, because I need to be able to stay in my zone. And that is okay. You don't have to drop everything and like get out of your focus. Unless there's an emergency situation, there shouldn't be a reason that they are demanding that you answer right away. And if it's an emergency situation, then my guess is you probably wouldn't have them asking those types of questions anyway. Because you'd be going to an ER, right? Like, or something more serious, for something more serious like that. Okay. When it comes to the going deep, it's really important to have your birth plan with you, to have your husband or your support system there who knows what is expected or what is wanted from the birth, because in order for you to be able to stay deep or stay focused in your mind, you can't be thinking about what they're doing that you asked them not to do in the birth plan. It shouldn't be something that you have to focus in on at all. If for some reason they didn't read the birth plan, or they're not, you know, up to date with it, or they're not following it because they don't like it, or whatever the reason, then you need to have that support system there to step in and say something for you, so that you don't have to get out of your comfort place and come out of that deep mindset that you're in. So a lot of times it was my midwife who would say something, but occasionally my husband would, you know, like pipe up and be like, oh, she doesn't want that right now, or we're gonna wait for whatever it is. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, it's our policy, or you know, like this is something we have to do. And then we've kind of set up a routine of what we say, where it's like, well, we're gonna hold off for now. We're gonna wait until it's absolutely necessary, or we're gonna waive that, or we'll sign any paperwork needed in order to what is the word? Basically to take their liability out of it, right? Because they have a form that you can sign that says, I refuse that, and you don't have to do it. But because it is policy, they have to say it's policy and required, so that they don't get sued or anything. And so if you don't want them to do something and you've done your research and you know that you don't like it or don't want it, then you can just say, we'll sign whatever is needed after, or, you know, I'll sign it right now for my husband, but we're going to hold off on that, or we're going to not do that. When it comes to the going deep, having the mood kind of like we talked about, and the music and everything set for what you're wanting is also really great. It helps you to stay focused and stay deep. So I suggest having that all set up and ready to go. If they don't allow for music for some reason in the room, you can have an earbud or music in, and it just helps you to be able to focus in and stay calm and relaxed like you need to. When it comes to like staying focused and deep, it really helps me if I'm able to think about positive things. So I'm gonna kind of go into more detail. Like sometimes when I'm in the middle of a surge or between surges, I will just go through and read some of my favorite quotes or some helpful affirmations that I enjoy, and that just helps me to refocus or center myself back where I need to be if I do kind of get out of my deep zone. Okay, so here are some of my favorite affirmations. Do or do not, there is no try. Yoda, always a good one. And it's so true. Like, if you go into it with the mindset of, well, I'll try it, see if it works out, then you're not committed and it's probably not going to work out. So just have that mindset of, this is what we're doing. This, not even doing, but this is, I'm trying to remember the wording that I use. I am focused. I will, well, no, not will either. I am very strong. I breathe correctly. These types of words that don't allow for future change. So the next one, I am very strong and prepared for the birth of my baby. Just making sure that I remember, like, I am strong and, you know, like, I'm prepared. I am focused on a smooth, easy birth. I am relaxed and welcome my baby with happiness and joy. I breathe correctly and eliminate tension. I am confident. I am strong. I am educated and control my birth. I feel safe and secure. I have made the right choice for me, my husband, and my baby. So these are just some of the different quotes that I like to use. This isn't stronger than me. This is me. So another way of wording that is, this can't be bigger than you. This is you. So if someone's saying it to you instead. So every part of birth is your body, right? Like, it's your uterus, it's your body, it's your muscles, it's your heart. All of it is working together to get this baby here. And recognizing that the intensity that comes with it and the pressure that comes with it, it isn't bigger than you. It can't be bigger than you because it literally is you. And so sometimes it can be a little intense and seem like it's going to get to be too much.
Hey!
Hi! Okay, another one is, every thought that comes to my mind relaxes me deeper and deeper. So, yeah, just only allowing thoughts into your mind that are helping you to relax and to go deeper, and to recognize that when those thoughts or those words come into your mind, that they can help you go deeper. So I suggest doing the positive affirmations like 1 to 3 times a day, or as much as possible. Coming up with a list of different affirmations that are helpful for you. And that you should write your own affirmations, not just, you know, ones that you found online or through a hypnobirthing class. The words that I like to use that help me go deep and feel empowered are peace, powerful, calm, deep, smooth, open, relaxed, confident, and empowered. So when I'm in the middle of a surge, just having someone say these words to me really helps me and be like, yeah, I am empowered. I can do this and I can get through this even stronger than I realized. Some other affirmations. I am prepared and ready for my ideal birth. It doesn't have to be a perfect birth. It doesn't have to look a certain way in order to be considered a perfect birth. It just needs to be your ideal birth, what you would like to have come out of it, right? So don't get caught up in the mindset of it has to look a certain way, because it really doesn't. And just like on my YouTube video that I shared for my last birth, there were people who didn't like it, and that's okay. That's their choice of whether they're going to like or dislike something, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow my birth to be affected in the future because I felt like other people didn't like how I did it, if that makes sense. I know that I can do anything through the Lord. So this is a big one for me because I'm a religious person, and I feel like there's a higher power that can help me through my birth, and I rely on that. I rely on Him and the strength that comes with that. And so almost with every birth, I have said a little prayer and just asked for the strength and the power to get through it. And if you don't have, like a faith or a belief in God, that's okay. I would just suggest having something that you can draw power from, because it definitely helps you through the process. My baby is positioned perfectly for labor and birth. I go to full term and birth my baby in the right timing for baby and for mom and dad. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the baby's going to come at the exact hour on the day that we want them to come, right? But it is the right timing for all of us because it's right for the baby and it's safe. And that's the main thing that is really trying to be brought across right there. It's important to write down your fears. So with one of my births, I wrote down my fears, and I said my fear was baby will come early. And then right under that, I put baby will come on time. The next one was baby not positioned correctly for labor and birth. And then right under that, baby is positioned in the optimal position for birth. One of my fears is back labor, because I experienced that a lot with my first baby, because the baby was not positioned properly. So I think that was kind of why it was associated with that fear. It just made it a little bit more intense, so I was hoping to not experience that with the next one. And then for my counter to that, I have normal surges, and then the next fear was the midwife would not make it before birth. Because I do home births, she does have to make it on time. And with my son, I had him during a snowstorm and we had like feet of snow, so it took her longer to get there, so that was the one where I was a little worried. But the counter to that was the midwife is early for the birth and is able to set up and feel prepared. So it's okay to have these fears, but you need to work out how they are going to be resolved, and you need to focus in on the positive instead of the part that you're scared. Having a bigger baby than my biggest, and then my counter to that my body knows what I am able to birth and can birth my baby. So sure, like having a bigger baby than I've had, 8 pounds, 5 ounces, can seem a little bit like nerve-wracking, but just focusing in on my body knows what I'm able to birth and can birth my baby naturally. So your body is made to adjust and mold and form to be able to deliver whatever size baby can come out. Okay, so tearing was another one that I was fearful of. I did experience tearing with my first baby, so I think that was why it was a concern that I had. Just the recovery part wasn't as good as if you don't tear, right? And I have no complications and open perfectly. So, if we're able to stay relaxed and loose and not have tension in our body, we're going to be able to open our body and it's going to be a lot smoother and the complications will be less as we're able to have less stress associated with it. So I tore with my first baby because her hand was up by her face through the birth canal, and it's my first baby and I didn't know what to expect, and when I had the urge to push naturally, I didn't know how to slow it down, which is something that we can also talk about. And so my midwife just started going over the he, and I kind of got a little too high pitched with my he because I think that it wasn't as helpful as going he. No, it sounds funny, but it really does work. But just slowing the process, they say blowing out birthday candles is another way that you can kind of slow the surges with the pushing. If you're in the pushing phase, this is so when it comes to the pushing phase, sometimes if the baby's coming down too fast, too quick, you'll have the burning sensation from stretching too quickly. And so we're going to talk about that some more later, but doing the birthday candles is kind of like it kind of slows the process a little bit, so you're still getting the air and getting your breathing that is needed, but it's just slowing it down a little bit so that you're not stretching too fast and causing yourself to tear. Okay, here's my favorite quote. According to physiological law, all natural, normal functions of the body are achieved without peril or pain. Birth is a natural, normal, physiological function for normal, healthy women and their healthy babies. It can, therefore, be inferred that healthy women carrying healthy babies can safely birth without peril or pain. And I just really like this quote. I think it explains beautifully the both sides of it, that as long as you're healthy and the baby's healthy, there's no reason why you can't have a birth without peril or pain. So that's kind of something that I've relied on as I go through my birth process and have with each of my births. And I feel like it has really helped me. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about flexing and stretching. So if you were to take your tricep and your bicep in your arm and at the same time flex both of them. So I'm right now trying to bend my arm and straighten it at the same time, and I don't know if you can really see it in the video, but my arm is starting to shake a little bit because I'm trying to use my muscles in 2 different ways, right? And I'm causing them stress. Now, I can deal with this for probably a few minutes just fine, but after a while, like even with my hand starting to shake from the intensity of trying to open and close it at the same time, it's starting to cause me some fatigue, and I'm feeling some pain because of the way that I'm trying to force something that should be natural and easy, and I'm trying to force it to do something it's not meant to do, and therefore it's causing tension and then pain. So now I'm just going to relax it. If I were to just do this, open and closing my arm, I'm still going to feel my muscles being worked after doing this for a long time, right? Like even if I don't have a weight in my hand. But the intensity is gone. Like the pain that I was experiencing is gone. After a long time of doing this, will it still be intense and hard? Like, will I be able to maintain this for hours and hours? Sure, but it doesn't mean that it won't start to really work those muscles, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to birth, in my opinion, because with your uterus, it's a muscle. And if it's tense and you're trying to use those muscles to push a baby out, it's working against itself. So it's tight and tense, but it's trying to loosen and relax and push the baby out. So we need to be able to find a way to stay relaxed and stay calm in order to keep the muscles in our uterus functioning properly. And that is what I'm trying to teach with why I'm sharing this information. Because that sensation, if you try it yourself in your arm, you'll feel it as well, where it gets intense and after a while it is painful. And I have no doubt that there are women who give birth that are experiencing true pain. I'm not discounting or saying that it doesn't happen. And it is intense and it is the hardest thing that you'll ever do. But it doesn't have to be the most painful. And that's what I want to share. And I believe it all has to do with that. Just the different muscle groups and tension and breathing properly and how to keep everything loose and relaxed. Because if you can do that, you're not going to experience as much pain as you would if I just kept doing this or tightening here and trying to relax, right? Okay, so I have something I want to read that I found online that I felt like explained it very well. It says, so the person that had asked the question said, should stretching hurt when I do it? And it also applies to birth when it comes to this as well. No, stretching should not hurt. Feeling pain during a stretch indicates that you have stretched too far. More is not always better, and achieving optimal results for stretching does not take as much effort as most people think. Getting a muscle to lengthen from stretching requires the delicate manipulation of tension. Our muscles have something called a stretch reflex, meaning that when they get stretched, it causes a reflexive contraction. This is a protective mechanism. If you move too far into a stretch, such as to cause pain, it will create a very large stretch reflex. This large stretch reflex will cause a buildup of tension in the muscle, making it virtually impossible to relax. Okay. To get the most benefit from a stretch, move into the stretch position until the first point of tension is felt in the muscle and hold for about 30 seconds. Once the muscle is relaxed, if you want to achieve more range of motion, simply move into the stretch a little bit more, stopping at the next point of tension and holding for 30 seconds. Repeat this process until you are satisfied with the result. So that's just for basic stretches, right? But it also applies to giving birth. As we're pushing the baby out, a lot of times people refer to the ring of fire. And I'm sure you've heard of it, and maybe you've experienced it, or maybe this is your first and you haven't yet. When it comes to the ring of fire, I've experienced it with my births, but I think I recognized what it is, and the stretching explains it perfectly. So just the same as when you're stretching your leg or your arm, and you go too far and you can feel you get going and you're reaching out to your foot and you can feel it starts to burn, right? It's kind of that same sensation in my mind, where the skin and the muscle is trying to stretch out in order to fit, a 10 centimeter head through it. And so you're going to get that stretch reflex. And that's natural and that's normal, and it's actually good because your body's telling you that you need to slow down a little bit, or that it needs a little bit more time to stretch before the baby's ready to come through. And so a lot of times, just once you recognize, like, okay, I can feel the intensity, so now I'm going to stop pushing, I'm going to just let it sit, or I'm going to, just breathe with the birthday candle breathing, so that my body can just sit in this position for 30 seconds at least, or, like a time frame long enough for it to just sit there and get comfortable in that position. And then you'll find that it's not so intense when you go to push again, because it's basically stretched to that point, and now your body is ready to stretch a little further. And so it's that same kind of concept with stretching your muscles as it is for the ring of fire. So you can gradually go through that phase of stretching so the baby's head can come through, and then you don't have to experience such an intense ring of fire, because you're allowing your body to warn you and say, whoa, 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 we're not quite ready. We need a little bit more time to stretch. And then once it's stretched, we can go a little further, a little further, a little further until the baby's head comes through. So each birth, I feel like my ring of fire has decreased or has become less intense. Obviously, because I've stretched a little more and my body's more able to stretch out and everything like that. But I believe it also has to do with I make that connection in my brain and I don't keep pushing. I allow it to just sit. And knowing what's happening with your body is so important for reasons like this, because then you know, okay, I need to just give it a second and then I can go a little further. So that's some tips that I have when it comes to the ring of fire. So when you're doing the pushing with the ring of fire, usually they suggest one big breath in and then out pulses. So kind of like the birthday candle breathing like we talked about, and thinking about blowing out birthday candles. So what it's doing, it's helping me to stop pushing so I can stretch the hole and dilate the vagina. And it helps with the burn, so you don't have such an intense ring of fire burning. Okay, I think we pretty much covered everything that I wanted to go over for that. And hopefully this video helped you, and I'm happy to do more videos in the future with counter pressure and different birth positions, being positions that I like to get in, and then also how I move during labor is another one that I would like to do a video for, because I feel like movement and keeping your body active during those surges is really helpful to keep labor progressing and moving forward. With my first birth, I had a 16-hour labor, and I was just lying down or sitting for majority of the birth. I was in the bathtub or birthing tub for majority of that birth, and it took 16 hours, which I know wasn't very long in comparison to some people, but it was still uncomfortable for me. With my next 2 births, they were about 4.5 hours, and I was active or moving or swaying or doing salsa movements with my hips the entire time, and the birth went so much faster and so much smoother. So I definitely think that it makes a difference. So I would love to share that as well. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to subscribe for more videos, please do so, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video or it helped you in any way. Thanks guys. Bye.